A job interview isn't just about the recruiter or the hiring manager grilling you with challenging and sometimes really awkward questions. It's just as much your opportunity to figure out if the job is actually right for you, which means it's really important to go in with some good questions of your own. In today's video, I'm going to share my top 5 questions to ask an interviewer, and if you stick around till the end of the video, I'll share even more quality questions that'll help you not only make an irresistible first impression, but also get right to the top of the interviewer's list. Let's do this. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for being here. I'm Anna from CV Labs. I'm a career and LinkedIn coach, and in my videos I talk about how to get you hired for that fantastic job you want and of course deserve. If you want to make the most out of your career and get regular tips for your personal and professional development, make sure to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that we can stay in touch. I've led many job interviews, so trust me when I tell you that asking your interviewer questions at the end of your interview is super underrated. Most people don't even realize what a great opportunity that is to not only stand out against your competition, but actually avoid getting yourself into something that turns out to be the exact opposite of the kind of job you envisioned for yourself. Generally, interviewing is a very subjective process, right? Which means there's definitely some room to not only shine with facts about you or your accomplishments, but actually prove that you know how to turn an average conversation into a great one. You know the famous quote that says, people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That is exactly what asking the right, insightful questions can do. It can help you become that one candidate out of many who managed to make the interviewer's day a little bit better. One of my clients recently got a job offer for a job he was super excited about. And when he emailed me to share the good news, he shared with me that the recruiter said how the hiring manager went on and on and on about how my client showed great initiative and had these super insightful, smart, and well-prepared, targeted questions. And that ended up being the last drop in the bucket that made the hiring manager see that this was the right candidate for the job. So please do not be the average Joe who, when asked at the end of the interview, so do you have any questions for me, goes, not really, or at best, so when can I expect to hear from you? You are better than this. Before we get to my top 5 questions, let's start with what not to ask. Especially if this is your first interview in the process, there are generally 2 topics that are off limits: promotion and job perks like vacation, sick days, schedule flexibility, and all those things. See, I get that you must be really curious and want to get that stuff out in the open, the sooner the better, but you haven't gotten the job yet, and you're already asking what you can get out of it or what's next for you. You see a problem with that? So wait till you get a job offer, at least a verbal one, or better, the formal one actually, and then finalize the logistics like your schedule, your travel time, your vacation days, sick days, and things like that. Actually, many candidates make this mistake of starting to negotiate job perks way too early in the process. Until you have an offer, you can't really know for sure how much leverage you have. So when the interview process is just starting out, it's best to focus on the kinds of questions that will help you better understand the role, the team, and the culture in the organization. Most of us these days need to prepare for virtual interviews because in a lot of places all over the world, interviewing in person isn't an option for now, which is a challenge for a lot of people who are much better at interviewing in person than online. If you have a virtual interview coming up, I did a super detailed webinar with JobScan where I shared my best tips on how to nail a virtual interview. I'll link to the recording of that webinar in the description down below. Make sure to check it out. If you don't have a lot of time at the end of the interview, I would definitely start by asking more about the role. You could start with, how did this position become available? Or is this a new role that has been recently created? Then you could move on to asking more about the common challenges a person in this role would be facing on a daily basis. Another way to look at it, or another good question, would be what are the key skills that the team is currently missing that they're hoping to fill with this new hire? Then, a very important point, understanding how they measure success. So you could ask exactly that. How will you be measuring the success of the person in this position? And finally, you could simply ask, can you tell me more about the team? So I believe that in the limited time you have at the end of an interview, especially if you're still in the earliest stages in the process, these 5 questions are extremely helpful because they not only give you more information, but they give you the kind of information that you can start leveraging at later stages in the interviewing process to build a more compelling story and connect the dots between what they're looking for and what you have to offer. If you have a little bit more time, or maybe down the road at later stages of the interview process, you could definitely aim to find out more about the company and the culture. So for example, you could ask your interviewer, thinking back of the people who you've seen work in this department or in this team, what differentiated the ones who were average or fairly good from the ones who were truly exceptional and truly top performers? That's a really good question that can give you a lot of insight. Then you could move on to asking more about the company's current strategic goals. So you could ask, what are some of the main goals that the company is focused on at the moment, and how is this department or this team working to support those goals? And finally, if you want to learn a little bit more about the corporate culture side of things, you could ask, do you do any joint events with other departments or maybe the entire company? And by events, we don't mean just entertainment. It could be educational, could be industry specific, whatever that is. Also, don't be shy to ask questions about the interviewer. So for example, you could ask them, how long have you been with this company? Or another good one is, what's different about working here than anywhere else you've worked in the past? This is especially relevant if the person you're talking to has experience or background similar to yours. And finally, you could ask, what do you like the most about working here? And that will help you to strengthen that emotional connection a little bit and show your interviewer that their opinion actually matters. Last but not least, remember to ask about the interview process itself. So you could ask, what are the next steps in the hiring process? What is your timeline for the next steps? Or things like, if I'm hired for the job at the end, when would you like me to start? These are just a few ideas, but you can definitely ask some more detailed questions to make sure that you know exactly what to expect. You're prepared to do the right follow-up at the right time, and you can prepare for the next steps as well as you can. You and I both know that pretty often we don't have enough time to prepare for interviews, so we pretty much have to do it at the last minute. If that's the case, if you want to get the most done in the least amount of time possible, I did a live stream, specifically like a mini crash course with certain steps and best tips on how to prepare for an interview at the last minute, but make sure that your prep is actually truly effective. I linked to that live stream in the description down below. Check it out. I'm actually really curious which of the questions we went over today you like the most and why. Start sharing in the comments below, or if you have your own ideas, also great time to start sharing. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to hit thumbs up. If you loved it, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again soon.